Well, good evening. We want to welcome you to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. And I tell you, we're just so excited for tonight's broadcast. This is our 1 year anniversary being with you guys every Tuesday evening at 7:30 sharp. And so we're just so excited for all that shall be accomplished and all that shall be revealed on tonight. You know, a little over a year ago, we got a mandate to start sharing on Facebook. And so we just grabbed this thing by the horns and we were obedient to what we were told to do. And I'll tell you, it's just been a phenomenal ride. It's been awesome. It's been exciting. It's been words can't even describe how blessed we have been through and by this ministry in the Blender. And I tell you, we've been getting countless numbers of people just coming up to us, reaching out to us, connecting with us, just all kind of different avenues and ways. People have just been telling us how blessed they've been by In the Blender. And I tell you, I myself, I know my wife Madeline, she's super excited, but I am super excited about this being our 1 year. You guys hear me? 1 year anniversary with In the Blender. And so, oh man, I am ready to get into this. But it's been 1 year. 1 year we've been with you guys. We've been sharing every single Tuesday night at 7:30. We haven't missed one broadcast, one episode. We want to thank all of you that have been faithful partners with us, that have been watching us, that have been just encouraging us. Those that have been sharing the broadcast, we want to thank you guys for letting the world know about In the Blender. There is a tremendous need for a broadcast such as this. There are so many people that are part of the blended family dynamic that need to know the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. They need to know how to navigate this system because it can be a little tricky. There are a lot of components that come along with the blended family. And so we've been just commissioned to come before you guys and to share our testimonies, share the things that we've learned, the things that we've instituted, the things that we've been put in place to make sure that we have a successful blended family. So we're just so excited. So tonight we're going to jump right in with a brief recap of last week, talking about it's bigger than you. And so if you're in a blended family, you already know it's bigger than you. I tell you, this thing is so much bigger than myself. It's so much bigger than my wife. That's why we're here with you guys every Tuesday night, because we have an understanding that this is bigger than us. Everything that we've gone through, every test, every trial, every temptation, all the ups, downs, the toils, the turmoils, all the triumphs, everything that we've gone through is bigger than us. And so we're just so excited. So sweetheart, let's get the statistics, and then we're going to go right into tonight's episode.
Most children are doing reasonably well within 2 years of their parents' divorce. About 25% of youth from divorced families have serious social or emotional problems. 10% from intact families do. Young women do better than young men, often becoming more competent than if they had stayed in an unhappy family situation. Some thrive.
And so those are the statistics. Again, we share stats with you guys every single week, just so you can pinpoint where you are and where you need to be, how we can turn around a lot of the statistics that we've been reading and looking at. And so, again, it's been 1 year, guys. One whole solid entire year.
Hey, Kana.
Hey, Kana, how you doing? That we've been here with you guys every Tuesday at 7:30. And so we're excited. So tonight we're going to pick up part 2 of It's Bigger Than You. And just a brief recap. We talked about people are dependent upon you to have a successful blended family. What else, sweetie?
Go to the next one.
No. I will just pick up where I stopped. People are dependent upon you to have a successful blended family. Whether you know it or not, you're responsible for someone's success or failure. You make the decision. More is caught than taught. And so that was the first point that we touched on last week, because it's important to understand that people are dependent upon you. People are dependent upon us. Every Tuesday, there's somebody dependent upon us to be here talking about In the Blender. There's somebody dependent upon us to see our face, to hear our testimonies, to hear all that we've accomplished and we've gone through and what we can impart to the next generation. People are dependent on that. And so understand that people are dependent on you to have a successful blended family. It's because we have a successful blended family that we can share with you guys. And let me say that success came with a price. Mm-hmm. There were some things that we went through during this 20-year journey that has been wow. I mean, like, you would not believe some of the things that we've gone through. But because we've learned how to navigate it, because we've learned how to press through, because we've taken words of wisdom and wise counsel and we've applied them to our lives, it positioned us to now be a blessing to others. Mm-hmm. And so we want to encourage you guys to understand that people are dependent upon you to have a successful blended family. What's the next one, sweetheart? The next point.
Speak to your storm or your mountain, and it shall obey your words.
Speak to your storm or your mountain, and it shall obey your words. That's scripture. That's biblical. We have the authority to speak to every storm. We have the authority to speak to every mountain, and it shall obey us. And so you got to get to the point that you're tired of going through that same storm, mm-hmm. that you're tired of looking at that same mountain as relates to your blended family dynamic, and it's time to start speaking to it. If communication is a problem, then guess what? You got to speak to that communication. If finance is a problem, you got to speak to finance. If romance is a problem, you got to speak to romance. If coming on one accord in agreement is a problem, guess what you got to do? You got to speak to that. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't speak to it, it will begin to speak to you. And what I found out is a lot of times that storm or that mountain is speaking to you more than you're speaking to it. What do you mean? That's the reason why most of you want to give up. That's the reason why most of you want to throw in the towel, because you're allowing that storm or that mountain to speak to you instead of you in turn speaking to it. Because that's the authority that you've been given. Everything has ears and it obeys your voice. Mm-hmm. Everything has ears and they obey your voice. So if you don't speak to it, then you won't allow that ear to do what it's been designed to do, and that's to hear your voice and obey it. And so speak to your storm and mountain, and it shall obey. Everything has ears. Most people are trained to run away from their storm instead of speaking to it. I am so tired of folks walking away. I'm tired of them giving up. You need to understand. Watch this. If you really knew how important this blended family dynamic was, there's no way you would give up. What do you mean? Jesus was a part of a blended family. Wow. You never hear people talk about it. You never hear people discuss that. But Jesus was a part. He showed us the great godly example of being a part of a blended family. Mm-hmm. That's big. How in the world, watch this. Joseph had to have an understanding. Joseph had to have revelation in order to make this thing work. Because of the understanding that Joseph had, the Bible didn't talk about Jesus' father being no other person than Joseph. Mm-hmm. They say he's the son of the carpenter. Mm-hmm. Because of the understanding that Joseph had, that relationship was sealed. See, that's why I have a real hard time with this step thing. When I hear people talk about stepfather and stepmother and stepchildren, I got a problem with that. Because, first of all, she's not my stepwife. I'm not her step-husband. Let me say that again. She's not my stepwife, and I'm not her step-husband. So where do we get all caught in the children's step? all that's saying is that they're really not a part of what you're doing. You've already divided a line somewhere in that family dynamic that excluded them from being a part of this oneness. When you two decide to become one, them children became one with you. And so we got to get rid of this step thing, guys. Listen, and watch this. There's some people that say, I'm not a stepdad, but I stepped up to the plate. And I understand what you're trying to say, but watch this. You ain't step up nowhere because a father just do what a father does. God ain't stepping up to no plate. See, he going to make some folks mad tonight. God, I told you this is the 1 year anniversary, so I'm going to say some things that's going to rub some people the wrong way. Because I want you to get an understanding. It's important that you get an understanding. It's important that you get a revelation because we are God's example in the earth. We're showing people his love and how much he loved us and how much he included and engrafted us into his family. And he didn't separate us. He didn't make us one part of this and one part of that. We are all a part of the same thing. And so in this blended family dynamic, you got to look at this the same exact way. You're not stepping up to the plate. You're just being who you are. And that's a father and a mother. And so when you realize or understand that God never stepped up to the plate because he made the plate, he is the plate, he designed the plate, then guess what? You understand that you make the plate. You design the plate. You are the plate. So how do you step up to something you are? That's just like saying going to church when in actuality, we are the church. How can you go to somewhere you are? Oh, boy. Ooh-wee. I feel you. So, again, let's do this thing, guys. Don't give up. Too many people throw in the towel before they see the manifestation of what they've been waiting to come to pass. Too many people throw in the towel. I mean, every week we're dealing with somebody that's ready to throw in the towel. And we're like, why? What are you going to gain by throwing in the towel? Not only what are you going to gain, but think of all the things you're going to damage by throwing in the towel. We knew that in spite of the things that we went through early on, if we threw in the towel, it would have been more detrimental to us than it would have been advantageous. Because we had children that were involved. They already had to deal with the things that they dealt with from relationships that didn't work, from marriages that didn't work. And now we present them an example of another relationship. And we got the nerve or the audacity to throw in the towel because things get rough or things aren't quite going our way. Or we just can't come in total agreement. Guess what? When we say I do, oh boy, we came in agreement. So I want to say that because I want to put this puppy to bed once and for all. When you and your spouse say I do, you came in agreement. You said for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to death do you part. So everything that you got to go through or everything that you will go through, everything that you have gone through as it relates to the family, as it relates to the blended family, as it relates to the marriage, as children, parents, adults, finances, romance, everything that you are going to encounter has been summed up in I do. The agreement, so watch this. So I don't necessarily need her to agree with me anymore because she already agreed. I've already gotten her agreement. I don't need her to pacify me everything that I go through. Now, let me say this. It's nice sometimes to know that you have your spouse's full support. It's nice sometimes to know that. But you know that because they said, I do. So they already told you they support you. So now it's time to grow up. Now it's time to be a full-grown man and a full-grown woman. Take this thing by the horn and walk in it. The reason why so many people throwing in the towel because they forgot that on that blessed day, in front of all those people or in front of the justice of the peace, however you made this agreement, however you signed up for this covenant, you're forgetting that that person already came in agreement with you. And so don't give up. Don't throw in the towel before you see the manifestation, because it's coming. It got to happen. There are some things that we knew we wanted, and we just believe God. We trusted him. Even when we didn't like each other, because there were days when we didn't like each other. Matter of fact, there were years when we didn't particularly like each other. Well, let me say this. There were days when I didn't like her, but there were years when she didn't like me.
Whatever.
I already know. There were days, there could have been some months when I didn't like her. But I know there were some years when she didn't like me. Because I was clueless. I didn't have a clue on how to do this thing. I mean, I was trying all kind of stuff. But one thing I did know, I knew how to pray. I knew how to seek counsel. And I knew how to hear God. So when I realized that I was messing stuff up, when I realized I was missing the mark, I just humbled myself. I got myself in my right position. I started seeking wise counsel. I started seeking wisdom from God. And he started showing me things that I need to do. Mm-hmm. And when he showed me things that I need to do, it made things that much more easier. And that's why we can stand flat-footed with you guys and say the things that we say and share what we're sharing, because we've done it. I mean, there's some things coming up in 2018 we're going to share with you guys. You're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they went through that. Now, it's been a blessing that the things that we've gone through, we're still here. Especially as it relates to me, because I was just, like I said, I was clueless. You know, I was borderline dumb. And so we want to share with you guys. Let endurance, steadfastness, and patience have full play and do a thorough work, so that you may be people perfectly and fully developed with no defects, lacking nothing. So again, you're going to need some patience. You're going to have to be thorough. You're going to have to let it have full work. Don't rush it. Mm-hmm. Don't try to push it. Don't try to make things happen that's not time to happen. But you're just going to have to sit back and trust this process. There's some things that once we got an understanding that we just had, once we start working it, then we had to trust that it was working. Mm-hmm. Even liking each other, we had to trust that we liked each other again. Because there were, in the beginning, man, the like was through the roof. The light was through the roof, and then something happened. Time passed. She said me.
That's what happened. Oh, Jesus.
I'm happy. Time passed. Then I happened again. That's what it was. No, but guess what? Time passed. Then something happened. Mm-hmm. Every time something happens, time passes. Right. So in order to get what you want out of this dynamic, you have to start doing some things and then let time pass. Mm-hmm. Let me say that again. Every time something happens, time passes. So in order to get what you really want out of this blended family dynamic, you're going to have to do something different and then let time pass. Because once I start doing different things, guess what? Time still passed. Mm-hmm. So every time I would do something, I would wait for time to pass. I did this, time passed. I did that, time passed. I did this, time passed. I did that, time passed. And eventually, I was where I wanted to be. We were where we wanted to be as related to a family. And guess what? Now it's blessed. You know, just had a conversation with one of our daughters last week. I mean, it just was a tearjerker. Guess what? We did some things, time passed. Yep. We did something else, time passed. Every time you do what you know to do is right, now you just got to trust that time is going to do what it's been designed to do. And that's going to pass. That's all time going to do is pass. It don't stand still. It don't wait for you. It passes. Right. That's why God is able to redeem the time, because time passed. And so we were just so blessed in the fact that we did what we did, made the proper adjustments, let time pass, and then we reap the benefits of it. Then we stop with this, and then we're going to go forward. Identify your faith, truth, and their roles. Read that, babe.
Okay. In Dr. Didi's book, Focus, She talked about having a faith troop, faith principle 3. And this, she said, figure out who can go to war with you. Determine who your prayer warriors are, who is good for encouragement, who can take your mind off the natural. Figure out each person's role during your process and get ready for war.
Stop right there. Identify your faith troop. There are some people that you got to identify that's going to be in faith with you. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about in faith with you. There are some people you got to identify that you know that they want to see your best. They're believing that your family is going to be successful, that you're going to be everything that you seek in God to be, that you're going to be a light, that you're just going to be blessing other families. And so you got to identify people that God has placed in your life that has specific roles. Now watch this. One person is a prayer warrior. Mm-hmm. Then somebody else can be the encourager. Mm-hmm. It's a rarity that one person is all these things.
All right.
It's a rarity. Not that one person can't be all these things, but it is a rarity that one person is all these things. And so sometimes you just got to identify certain people that play a certain role. And so there may be one person that I don't care what you're going through, they can encourage you.
Right.
It's always one person that can make you laugh. I mean, I don't care how bad the situation may seem, is that person that can just make you get your mind off of it. You got to identify that person. And then once you identify these individuals, you got to let them do what they've been placed in your life to do.
Right.
And so she said, determine whom your prayer warriors are, who is good for encouragement, who can take your mind off the natural. Figure out each person's role during the process and get ready for war. Because this is a war. You got to get ready to fight. Let me tell you something. The only way you're going to be victorious is you learn how to fight. The Beastie Boys said, you got a right to fight the party. Well, guess what? I'm telling you, you got a right to fight for your family. Right. You got a right to fight for victory. You got a right to fight for every promise that God has given you, every dream that you've had, every thought that you've had to be a blended family on top. Because nobody want to keep doing this thing and not be successful. Mm-hmm. Nobody want to, for some of you guys, this is your second and third blended family. Guess what? The buck stops here. It comes a time where you got to learn how to just put the gloves on. And I don't care if you don't really know how to throw a jab or a hook or uppercut, just throw a punch. Because eventually you're going to hit. And so you got to learn how to just get ready to fight, get your people in place, and let's start rumbling. And then we talked about Dr. Freeman. Apostle Freeman said in his book, During the Storm, there's a huddle up. Mm-hmm. Now, I like this right here. There's a huddle up. You got to gather your squad. So one person talked about your faith troop. Mm-hmm. The other person talked about your squad. Now, they could be similar, but they can also be different because it's real close. But watch this. Your inner circle has to be solid. That's your squad. See, your faith troop may not necessarily be your inner circle. Mm-hmm. They could just be people that are good at doing what they do.
Right.
But your squad is your inner circle. That's the ones that know your most intimate feelings, your most intimate dealings. Those are the ones that know you better than anybody else. Those are the ones that can go to bat for you regardless of any circumstance or any situation. Those are the ones that you know that I don't care how bleak things may appear. I don't care how dark it may be. I don't care how rough it may seem. I know my squad is there for me. Right. You know, it's like when my pre-Jesus days, I had a squad. It was 15 of us. And you better cool believe that we knew that everybody in that squad was there. But everybody in that squad was my faith troop. But then there were certain individuals in that squad or in that troop that was my squad. And so those are the ones that were closer to me than the others. Now, we all were there. They all was there. They all had each other back. But there was some, you couldn't tell Joe all. He talked too much. You can't tell Susie everything because she's going to blab it out to everybody. So you got to know who that inner beings are that you surround yourself with, because those are the ones you're trusting with everything.
Right.
And watch this. And you can't be afraid to trust them with the secrets. You can't be afraid, because if you want to if you want to have victory, if you want to be victorious, then you got to share some stuff. It's some stuff that, listen, I love being transparent, because then I don't got to worry about keeping nothing. Sometimes I get in trouble because I tell too much. My wife be like, shut up. You talk too much. But I do that to safeguard me. Because when you hold on to things that you know you really should let go, then now that's what the enemy try to use to get you down. That's what he try to use to use his device to attack you and to be victorious in your life. And so I just share things, so I don't even want to give him no place. What you know is not all there is to know. And we're going to close with this, because we're almost out of time. What you know is not all there is to know.
Right.
Let me say that one more time. What you know is not all there is to know. We thought we knew some things coming into this. Man, we found out what we knew was not all there was to know. Matter of fact, what we knew wasn't even the beginning of knowledge. It didn't even cross the threshold of knowledge. I mean, we were clueless as it relates to this, because we just knew us. We knew what we did. We knew how we did it. We knew what we liked, but we had no idea how to make us work. Mm-hmm. We had no idea how to make. I had no idea how to be a good father. I had no idea how to be a good husband. I had no idea how to be a good companion. I had no idea those things. And so my little bit of understanding when I came into this, it was crazy. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, it was explosive. It was almost damaging. I mean, it was so bad that we told you guys before, folks didn't think we was going to make we went on 20 years, 20 days. How about 20 months? 20 months was big for us. We was just pushing for 20 months at first, because that's how jacked up stuff was. But again, I realized that all I knew was not all there was to know. This is important. The moment that you stop learning and getting understanding is the moment you begin to die. Many of you, wow. The moment you stop learning and getting understanding is the moment that you begin to die. Many people are dying in their marriage. They're dying in their family dynamic. They're dying in this blended family relationship because they stop getting understanding. They stop learning. When the Bible clearly tells us in all that we get what? Understanding. Get understanding. In all that you get understanding. Understanding is the key to success. What you don't understand, you can't repeat. Mm-hmm. That's why we teach understanding is divine comprehension in my heart that allows me to repeat a matter at will. The reason why we can share what we share with you guys, the reason why we can lay it out for you, make it plain, is because we have understanding. And because we have understanding, we can say, if you do this, right, you'll get that. If you follow this, you'll receive that. Why? Because the understanding that we receive allow us now to put you in a position, or put others in a position, even put ourselves in a position to repeat it over and over again. Right. What was once sustaining you will eventually run out. If you don't move forward, if you don't seek wisdom, if you don't seek guidance, if you don't continue to learn, if you don't continue to get understanding, then what once was sustaining you will eventually run out. It's not. Yesterday I called my wife yesterday, and I said, I'm at work and I'm driving, and I didn't realize that I didn't stop and get gas. That's understanding. That's learning. I didn't stop and get it. And before you know it, I was way up Georgetown, and my car started beeping. And when I looked down at the needle, it was on E. Now you know when your car get on E, you in trouble. And so I quickly went over and I wanted to see how many miles I can go on that line. And I realized I was close enough to one of my favorite gas stations that I had enough mileage to make it there. But watch this. What was sustaining me was running out because I didn't fill up. And many of you guys, you running off of a tank of gas that you filled up on 20 years ago. You filled up on 10 years ago. You filled up on 5 years ago. You filled up on a year ago. And you thinking that tank of gas or that understanding or that knowledge that you gained way back then is enough to keep you going. And it's not. And oh my God. Make sure that these tools or the tools you're using are appropriate for the job. Wow. We're closing with that. Make sure that the tools you're using are appropriate for the job. Listen, we're so excited. Again, I was so excited, man. I felt like I was all over the place tonight. I was, because this is 1 year. Yeah. 1 year. We started this last year on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day happened to fall on a Tuesday in 2017. Yep. And so that's when we started. That's how we spent our Valentine's evening together, sharing with you guys our first episode of In the Blender. Mm-hmm. And so we're just so excited. I mean, we're just, oh my God. I might don't go to bed for another couple hours because I'm just excited.
Oh, I'm going to bed.
Well, we know that. Neither hell nor high water gonna keep you up.
Broadcast over, I'm going to bed.
We already know. I'm talking about myself. But again, we love you guys. We thank you for sharing with us this 365 days.
Every Tuesday
night.
Especially Kana. She's been on, I believe, just about every single broadcast.
Yes.
She's watched.
Yes. I mean, and there are others, but I mean, Kana's been there. I mean, she's...
Yeah, and I said her because she watched it on tonight. She has she's been on pretty much every single one.
Exactly. We got Will.
You know what I'm saying?
Quite a few others. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a few people that's
been
on.
A lot watch and don't say anything.
Right.
You know, and so, but those two in particular, make sure that they let us know that we watching and we hear and we got something to say. And so we love you guys. We thank you for being with us. This 1 year anniversary episode in the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. I tell you, we got some exciting stuff coming up this year. Just get a final thoughts for y'all and we're going to close out.
Okay. Always remember that every family is different and may have different challenges. So every blended family challenge should be addressed individually depending upon the challenge.
The personalities are different, so you want to use measures that work for you.
One of the main things you should do, that you should always do, is keep the lines of communication open in the blended family.
Parents should always show unity in front of the children, even if they secretly don't agree with each other.
Showing that you are unified diffuses the enemy's attacks in the blended family.
Lastly, you want to always demonstrate patience.
Having patience to work through the difficult challenges in the blended family will bring about a happy blended family.
And remember, you became a blended family because you chose to. Now choose to be successful. We love you guys. We thank you. Hey, Donnie, love you, man. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.